Hello, my friends. Diana Rankin here. So good to see you. We have some people waiting. Juliet Tanner says hello for me in Phoenix. We found a beautiful blue feather while out walking just now. Good sign. Hope so. Absolutely. Um, Absolutely. Blue feathers, when we find in some of my workshops, and I took it from, oh gosh, now his name just suddenly slipped my mind, Richard Bach, from one of his books about finding a blue feather. I think the book was Illusions, but he has several books out, and I could be wrong on the specific book, but it was Richard Bach, Illusions, I believe. And Wendy says, yes, we made it live. Hello, Wendy. So good to see you. Thank you for coming. Anyway, the blue feather, it in the book, finding the blue feather was proving you could manifest, basically. And so in many of my workshops, I would give people the opportunity to go find their own blue feather. And I would, if especially in the winter, I would hide these blue feathers inside in the facility. And during the weekend workshop, they would have to find a blue feather. And pretty much everyone did. I will tell you a quick story. This goes back many years. It was one of the first workshops I held, and I held it here on my sacred land. And we were in the workshop area, which is across the driveway, so to speak, from my house. And we were missing one of the women, Donna. And finally she showed up and she said, sorry, I'm a little late, but I had trouble finding blue feathers. And we're looking around and watching her because there's something in her hand and we're kind of wondering what it is. And she said when she was driving up, and it's a 2-lane road to get to my house, when she was driving, she got behind a truck carrying chickens. And she said at one point the wind blew and she just opened the window and she had a lot of white feathers. And when she got to the workshop area, she got out of her car thinking, I don't have a blue feather. I've failed. And guess what was laying right there at her feet? A blue feather. Okay. I will tell you more stories on that at other times. My own first finding a blue feather was not the easiest either. So yes, finding a blue feather is, you are manifesting, girl. You are telling yourself how magical you really are. Okay, Guida says, hello, everyone from Guida in Woodland, Illinois, USA. Blessing to you all. And Judy says, hi, Diana. Great to be here live. I love to hear your stories. Oh, thank you, Judy. Thank you. Well, in that case, I will tell one more. And again, this is my blue feather story. After I read Richard Bach's, B-A-C-H, after I read his book, I said, okay, I'm going to convince myself that I can find a blue feather. So I gave myself the weekend. And at the time I lived in the city and I did have a kitty cat. Those are two things that you need to know. And so I gave myself a weekend to find a blue feather. Well, I went out into the wilderness and I went hiking and kept looking for that blue feather, and it just didn't exist. So Sunday night, here I am sitting in the area where the TV is and the books are, and I'm kind of sitting there looking around thinking, I give up. I couldn't find the blue feather. And I'm kind of petting my kitty cat. Her name was Sesame. And I think, okay, Sesame, let's go to bed. So she jumps off my lap as I get up, and she goes over and she knocks over her bucket of toys, her big basket of toys. And when she knocks over the basket of toys, guess what falls out? A toy with a blue couple of feathers, but guess what color one was? A blue feather. I laughed at myself. All right, let's get going on the predictions. These are our predictions for September. For some individuals, September will bring forth wanted and wonderful wishes for surprises. For the world as a whole, however, the surprises will surprise some, but not others, and all but a few will find the occurrences anything but wanted or wonderful or wished for. So, my friends, to kind of narrow it down, because Philip, sometimes the syntax is different than I use, and to narrow that down, for some of us, we're going to have the wishes that we've put out there that manifest in our lives, and we're going to celebrate. But for many in the world, and the world as a whole, we may not like what's happening. Philip goes on to say, this will not be an easy month on the world stage, with wars already underway causing more death and destruction. In the U.S., pay attention, in the U.S., 9/11 is to be watched carefully, as there are those who plot to complete what was started. What was started? There are those in charge who ignore the warnings and those who take them seriously. We ask of all to spread the light of love over the lands in need of protection and those at war. Divine light of love can divine surround and infuse earth. I missed a line. So we ask of all to spread the light of love over the lands in need of protection and those at war. Surround and infuse earth with the divine light of love, and do not question the power you have to protect. Don't even question how powerful you are. Just spread that light together and at one light, and then it just keeps spreading. We can do this. At one time, the goddess reigned, then the god reigned, and it is time for the balance of both. For this to fully come into being, individuals must first find the balance of the masculine and feminine energies. This requires balancing the human energies of creativity and sensitivity with logic and practicality. Once this is learned and practiced, each being must learn how to bring their spiritual self into their human life. This month, many openings will be made available to do so wisely. Choose wisely. So what Philip is saying, this is a very strong month. The energy is right for us to learn more how to bring our spirit self into our human self and more of the balance of the masculine and feminine. We can do this. We can. Philip goes on to say, your choices will either advance the world into an enlightened era or add to the quickening of greater destruction. I want to also say, moving into that enlightened era, it doesn't happen overnight. That's what we're seeing. We're seeing the pushback against it. And so the more of us who get caught in the love or stay in the love rather than getting caught in the anger, we can do this. Philip goes on to say, it is a month you may want to scream in anger. If you do so, go ahead, but do not stay in the anger. Holding the anger will make you a target for more, and this month has plenty to go around. Release the scream and then counter it with a loving act. 2 loving acts will be better. Ocean waves are high this month and are to be watched by anyone concerned. This is not steady as to where eruptions will take place, as oceans are unsteady globally. The same is true of winds. So what Philip is saying there is, watch out wherever you live. If you live near an ocean, be aware. If you live where there are high winds or hear of high winds coming, be aware. It's really unsteady energy right now. And so exactly where there could be destruction, multiple places, really, multiple places. So just be aware. Philip goes on to say, it is a month of intense and often erratic energy. There is little middle ground this month, which will make it more difficult to walk the fence line. Although it is time for many wishes and prayers to be answered, it is also a time to create wishes for the future. There is a power in this month that will bring forth changes. Some of those changes, both personal and in the greater world, will be welcome. Others will be feared. You are the creator of your life, which then creates the world. This is a powerful month for creation. What are you creating? So Philip is saying, create this month, but beware of what you're creating. Beware of creating love and say thank you to yourself. Love yourself a little bit more, but also beware if you're adding to the anger of the world. Remember, A Course in Miracle teaches us there's fear, there's love. That's it. Every emotion comes out of fear or love. And that last paragraph, the last two paragraphs say, although it is a time for many wishes and prayers to be answered, it is also a time to create wishes for the future. There is a power in this month that will bring forth changes. Some of those changes, both personal and in the greater world, will be welcome. Others will be feared. You are the creator of your life, which then creates the whole world. This is a powerful month for creation. What are you creating? All right. Let's see. Teresa is waving hello, and Iris is sending love from Israel. We'd love to hear where you're from, especially those who aren't right here in Ohio with me. If you're right here, or if I know you, I know where you're from, and I can tell the world. But Juliet's coming from Phoenix, and Gilda is coming from Illinois, USA, and Iris is coming from Israel. Thank you, those of you who are able to come live. I am so grateful. It must be quite late in Israel. I know in Ireland is, I think, 5 or 6 hours ahead of us. I can't remember. It's been a while since I've been there. And I'm not good on time changes, even in the US. And Robert says, from Drum Right, Oklahoma. Drum Right, Oklahoma. And Holly Kay says, sending love from Yellow Springs, Ohio. Yellow Springs, I'm very familiar with. Hello, Holly. Glad to have you with us. I did some undergraduate work and also my master's degree at Antioch University, which is right there in Yellow Springs. And Teresa says, from Delaware. And as Teresa, I'm assuming that's Delaware, the state, not Delaware, Ohio. We have a Delaware here in Ohio that's outside of Columbus. So thank you all. So good to see you. And Luz says, hello from Colton, California. You know, I used to live in California. I'm not sure where Colton is. And Teresa says, yes, East Coast. So she's from Delaware on the East Coast. I lived down in the, I was a sailor. So I had a 42-foot yacht that I sailed, or 32-foot yacht that I sailed. It's been too long. And I lived down in Huntington Beach, Long Beach on the Eastern Shore, and before that in the Costa Mesa, Newport Beach area. So I was out there in the 70s and 80s is when I lived in California. So good to see all of you. Thank you so much for coming and telling us where you're from. And my friends, I thank you so much. Oh, Lou says, I'm in a city next to San Bernardino. Okay, I know where San Bernardino is. I've been there. I have clients out that way. And Greg, hello. He says hi, and I happen to know Greg is from Los Angeles, so I know where everybody's from. This is cool. And LR72 says hello from Melbourne, Australia. Hello, you're getting ready for summer, and we're getting ready for winter up here. It's a little chilly even today. I want to thank all of you. You don't see Piper anymore. It's been 3 weeks. It's still tough, but I do want to tell you her book will be published hopefully within the year. And I want to thank all of you for holding us. Your love, your caring, your prayers have meant everything. So I thank you. Have a terrific month. And remember, you are the creator of your life, which then creates the whole. This is a powerful month for creation. What are you going to create? Create love, my friends. Create your dream. And let all of this over here, we're not going to worry about that, but we are going to fight back. Remember, keep the U.S. and the world in your prayers, in light. Surround us with light, especially around 9/11. Thank you. And Teresa says, love, love, love. Thank you all. We'll see you next week with answering one of our viewers' questions. And we'll see you next month in about 4 weeks for predictions. I'm trying to do them like the third week rather than the fourth week to get a little ahead of the month. And Teresa says, love, not fear. Absolutely. I love you, my friends. Thank you. Thank you. Lou says, thank you. See you soon.